Hello, good morning, students. I hope you all are staying safe at your home and enjoying these lockdown days. You were worried about your studies? That's why our school is providing you video lessons. So let us start with the chapter 1 of biology, and this is transport of food and minerals in plants. Here you are seeing that learning objectives or the topics which we are going through in this video lessons. Introduction to adoption of mineral by roots. So before start introduction, let me tell you about an activity. Uh, First, you have to take four test tube, and in all the test tube, you have to fill water equally, and then put uh, different color dyes in each test tube, 2-3 drops of dye in each test tube, and then put white flour along with the twig in the test tube, and keep this setup undisturbed for a day. The next day, when you come back and you see the setup, that you will amazed to know that all the flowers in each test tube are having different colors. It means that some spots are observed or some patches are identified. And why they are showing it, why the spots are there, it's because that you put this flowers in the test tube with colored water. It means something is there which is responsible for transporting this water to the upper part or to the floral axis or to the flower. Okay, so now we get an idea that this chapter is about transportation of water. It means that we are going to discuss about that how this water get transported. So let us start with the introduction. Just like all other creatures, just like all other animals or organisms, plants also need water, but they are immobile. It means they cannot move to the source of water. Then how they get water? Naturally, it's by rain that water falls on them. But isn't it that leaves absorb water? Isn't it the stem absorb water or any other part of the plant? If it is about smaller organism or simpler organism like unicellular, which are having one cell, or simple multicellular organism, which are made up of few cells, so they get water by diffusion. It means that they are on the place of water, and some of the water easily get into their body, okay, and get transported into their whole body. So for them, it's very simple. But what about higher plants? What about the tallest trees like sequoias or like redwoods? They are the tallest trees of the world. How this water reaches to the top of this plant? Okay, so that we have to find out. Do you know what is the part of the plant which is responsible for absorption of water? Here in the picture, you can see that there is a this is a plant, and below the ground level there is another part of the plant which we can say it is roots. So these are the roots and H2O. H2O means water. So this H2O, by means of root, it is transported to the upper part of the plant. Here you can see this arrow. So by roots it is transported to the upper parts of the plant. So uh, what we can say, that absorption of water takes place through the roots, and this is our next topic, absorption of water by roots. So how the plants get water? They get water by the roots through soil. Okay, so from the soil, that there is root in the plant and which trap water. Okay, in this picture you can see that the zoom structure is given here, and that this roots reaches to the soil in different places, and then they trap water. Okay, but along with the root there are root hair also. Root hair is what we know about our hair, about this root hair. So the root hair is also like our hair. This has thin or fine structures that are growth with the roots, and this help to trap maximum amount of water, or we can say it increase large surface area. Okay, here you can see in the picture that this is the structure of a plant, and in the zoom structure of this root is here. Okay, and this is the root, and these are the hair, root hairs. Okay, and this root hair are actually um, go to the place where normal roots cannot grow, because soil are generally having very less spaces. Okay, so this root here, because they are very thin, so they can go to the places, okay, in between the soil particles and trap this water, and then make it available to the branches of the root. Branches of the root, there is not only one root. Okay, so one root, or that the main root is that primary root, and along with it there is lateral roots. Okay, and these lateral roots are having this root hair, and which help to trap water from the soil. Okay, so now you got it, that the roots are responsible for absorption of water. Let us find it out with the experiment. The experiment is to show that roots absorb water. So what we have to do, we have three test tubes, and in all the test tube you have to take equal quantity of water or equal amount of water. Okay, and name them as A, B, and C. And also you have to put oil in all these three test tube. Oil forms an upper film on this test tube. Why it is so? Because oil is lighter in weight. And in test tube B, you have to keep rubber core so that it gets fixed into the mouth of the test tube. And in test tube B, here you can see that you have to keep water, you have to keep plant along with root, uh, so that the roots get touch the surface of water. And in the third one, that you have to keep plant along with its root but not touching the surface of water. Okay, now do you know what will happen next? In test tube A, what has happened? That there is no change in the level of water. One more thing is here, that along with the help of marker, you have to mark the level of water. Okay, and then in test tube A, there is no change in the level of water. It is as before. And then in test tube B, what has happened? That the level of water, that the marked level is above, and the sum of the water is used up, and that's why the water level goes down into it. And in test tube C, that it is as the same level. Okay, this for this experiment we need 24 hours. So why in test tube A and test tube C there is no change? Why it is? It's because, as you know, that roots are the structures which help to absorb water. And in both B and C, roots are there. But in B, roots are already immersed in water, or it is already dipped in water, and that's how they can absorb water. But in C, it's not touched, that the roots are not touched with the water, and that's how they cannot take water. They are unable to take water, and that's why there is no change in A and C, and only B has absorbed water. So by this experiment, it is proved that roots are the one which are responsible for absorption of water. Then the next topic, osmosis. It is the movement of water molecules from the region of higher concentration to the region of their lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Now the question is that what is higher concentration and what is that lower concentration? So osmosis is actually related with the solvent, or which is related with water. Okay, and uh, higher concentration, it means there is more water, and lower concentration, it means there is low water quantity. Okay, so when the molecules reaches from higher water level to lower water level, then we can say that it is osmosis. But the main thing which is very important is that semi-permeable membrane. Okay, semi-permeable membrane is what? That one is permeable membrane which give permission to each and everything. Okay, and another one is semi-permeable membrane. It means it gives permission for the entry of water or any other molecules, by selectively. It is through selective permission is given to the molecules. A semi-permeable membrane allows only certain molecules to pass through it. It means certain molecules can pass through it. Only few molecules are allowed to enter into them. And do you know that plants cells are having the outermost cover in the plant cells are cell wall, and then inner to it there is cell membrane, and inner to that there is cytoplasm. So that cell wall allowed water molecules and other substance to enter, but cell membrane is one which act as a semi-permeable membrane and which allows selective substance to enter into it. Okay, that's why dirt particles cannot enter into the plants. So here you can see this picture. So here you can see the picture. You have to take a beaker, and in the middle side you have to keep a semi-permeable membrane. You have to make a semi-permeable membrane here, and in one side you have to keep water, and in the second side you have to keep sugar solution. Okay, and keep the setup undisturbed for some hours, and after that semi-permeable membrane works. Okay, and what will happen, that water from this side reaches to the sugar solution through the semi-permeable membrane. So here that osmosis takes place. How it is that water from higher concentration, in water there is more water molecule, of course. Okay, so water from higher concentration, it reaches to the lower concentration. Sugar solution has less concentration of water, and that's why this level of water decreased, because it reaches to the sugar solution. Okay, through the help of semi-permeable membrane, and this is what osmosis. Okay, let us perform an experiment to better understand osmosis, to study using potato osmoscope. So material needed are, what we have to do, we have to take a beaker, okay, and fill half filled with water, and fill the potato and make cavity into it very gently, and then keep sugar solution, make sugar solution, okay, and keep sugar solution into the potato cavity. Okay, fill fill it 1/4, okay, and then fill it 1/4, and then use pins so that you can mark the initial level of water, and then keep the setup undisturbed. Okay, and after some hours you will come back and see that the level, that sugar level is increased, and then use another pin to mark the another level of water, the increased level of water. Okay, can you find out that what is the reason that this sugar level increased, that the level of water, not sugar level actually, that the solution or that the water level is increased into it? Why it is so? It's because that water is transported from, with the help of semi-permeable membrane. Here that potato membrane work is a semi-permeable membrane. So it crosses the semi-permeable membrane and reaches into sugar solution. Okay, and make the solution diluted. So this is the actual process of osmosis. It means water from higher concentration reaches to the lower concentration, okay, through the semi-permeable membrane. And this is our conclusion. The level of sugar rises because water from the outside flows into sugar solution, and potato wall act as a semi-permeable membrane. Okay, now the next topic is pathway of water through the roots. Higher concentration of water in root hair. Uh, Root hair are in contact with the soil. Okay, so soil are having more concentration of water than that of root hair. When root hair take this water, then root hair are more concentration of water than the nearby cells or subsidiary cells. Okay, then when the nearby cells take more absorb water, then this near cells are having more concentration of water than its nearby cells. Okay, so this is how that water is transported. Okay, so it always transported by the process of osmosis. It means when it is in higher concentration, then it travels to the region of lower concentration and make a difference in the concentration. Okay, and this difference in the concentration makes the water to reach to the inner side of the plant, okay, or inner side of the root. So from root here it reaches to inner sides of the cell, and this causes a pressure, or this causes a difference, and this type of pressure is called osmotic pressure. So now here osmotic pressure is responsible for carry forward water from the soil to the roots. Here in this picture you can see roots take up water from the soil, okay, and then uh, it reaches to other roots. Here in this picture it is more clear. So from root here, in the root here there is more concentration of water as compared to the nearby cells, okay, and then nearby cells by osmosis, by semi-permeable membrane, what that it reaches to another nearby cells or another subsidiary cells, okay, and this is how that water reaches to other parts of the plant. And here you can see this red structure, this pipe-like structure, this is actually xylem vessels. So then it reaches to xylem vessels of the root, and which makes the water to transport to the upper part of the plant. Okay, so xylem are what? I'll explain this in the next video lesson. So this just now, what is the pathway of water that from the soil to the root hair, and from the root hair to the nearby cells, and then reaches to the xylem. Now next topic, absorption of mineral salts by roots. So depending on the concentration of minerals in the soil, these are absorbed by the following mechanism. It means minerals are absorbed by the following mechanism. The first one is diffusion, and the second one is active transport. Depending on the concentration, what does it mean? It means higher and lower can be. So let us find out diffusion. A process in which molecules of gases, liquids, or solids move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. This is same like osmosis, okay, but here the basic difference is that in osmosis it is about solvent molecule, or it is about water molecule, but here molecules of gases, liquids, or solids all can move from one region, from the region of higher concentration to the region of their lower concentration, okay, and the movement is continued until the equilibrium is set up. It means both side from it is from higher to lower, you know. And sometimes what has happened that after that, when the lower side is having equal concentration than the higher side, okay, it means that both the sides are equal, then this process gets stopped. So diffusion, and it does not require any semi-permeable membrane, and it also does not need to consume energy. Okay, so diffusion of minerals in root cells takes place in such a way. So minerals are generally diffused into the root hair and transported to the other parts of the plant by diffusion or by passive absorption, because that diffusion is also called passive absorption. Okay, and it does not require energy. Okay, no energy, no extra energy is required, because it is just by diffusion, it's by along with the water, it just diffuse into the other parts of the plant. This is one process. Here you can see this picture, that higher concentration, like you can understand by an incense stick. You are having an incense stick, okay, and you are keeping this incense stick in one side of the room, okay, after lighting up, and then you get fragrance in the next corner also. Okay, why it is so? Because the smell of the fragrance of this incense stick is diffused in whole room. Okay, so that from higher concentration, it reaches to the lower concentration, and this is called diffusion, where no semi-permeable membrane is required. Okay, then active transport. The second method, active transport, when the molecule from the lower concentration, when molecule move from lower concentration to higher concentration. Till yet what we were reading about higher to lower, but it is opposite. It is from lower concentration to higher concentration. It means it is working against the concentration gradient. Okay, and this is called active transport because it needs an extra energy. Here it consumes energy. There is expenditure of energy, okay, in the form of ATP. And from where the cell gets energy, so it is by mitochondria or chloroplast, okay, because they produce ATP. So by the expenditure of energy, this molecules move from the region of lower concentration. Which molecules we are talking about? That mineral molecules move from lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. Okay, and generally these molecules are NPK. It means nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Okay, these are actually trace elements, and they are they are required by the plant. Active transport. Here you can see active transport is a big advantage to the cells because it allows an organism to move materials against a diffusion gradient. It means against the concentration gradient. And that's why it is very important. Why it is? Because it allows the plant to take the vital nutrients which are required for their growth, okay, which are trace in soil, but working against the concentration gradient, it can move into the plant. Okay, and for that energy is required, and this energy molecules, as I told you, that it is by mitochondria or chloroplast by the process of respiration, because at the time of respiration energy is produced in the mitochondria. Okay, sometimes it uses specific protein in the cell membrane, so it generally, that energy is produced, but this energy is that which molecules or which structure take this molecule to go into the cell. So these are special type of protein which makes them to take this this minerals from outside of the plant or outside from the soil into the plant, okay, or into the roots. Here you can see that there is low concentration. Okay, low concentration, it means that there is it can be soil. Okay, and this you are seeing that this blue color, okay, that is about a cell membrane. And then working against the concentration gradient, because inside there is higher concentration. It means in the cytoplasm there is higher concentration, and outside the cell membrane there is low concentration. Okay, and this green is working as a protein molecule. So this protein molecule uh, bind with the particular mineral, okay, and make it to discharge into the inner side of the cell. This is how that active transport takes place. Okay, it is by expenditure of energy. So this is the last topic of this video lesson. I hope you understand, and have a nice day, students.